I'm Aaron Canada on the Manager Show on the Cape Cod Baseball Network next to Manager John Schiffner. And Schiff, first off, how'd you enjoy the off day?
I slept, trying to catch up on some sleep. Did my thing at school and spent a lot of time in bed trying to catch up. This is a tough time of the year. Not that I'm looking for sympathy, but driving back and forth takes a lot out of you. Late nights, games, and then getting up at there about 3 and driving in. So took advantage of a little sleep. I think I still need a few more hours to catch up and be on a level, but I'm all right. We're okay right now.
About how many hours a day do you have to stay up when you've got a schedule like this?
If I get up early in the morning, I'm up at 3, and then if it's a home game, I could be up till as late as 11:30 midnight. So back-to-back home games. I'm working on 3 hours sleep, and thankfully today was the last regular day of school. Exams start tomorrow. I have one exam tomorrow and then none on Thursday, and I'm in negotiations now with the principal and the secretary. She's more mean than the principal is about I'm going to try to get out tomorrow afternoon if I can clear up all my duties, and if not, Thursday looking better, but if not, Friday is the absolute drop-dead day, last day of school, but I think we can negotiate. A couple pieces of Chatham A's gear might work out.
So you have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
I didn't know they made 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yeah, there was a time when I used to come home at 3 o'clock in the morning, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, it's the thing is, it's clear sailing from Harwich to Plainfield, Connecticut, and it's kind of funny. You actually recognize the same cars. If you leave exactly, which I try to do, is exactly at the same time. There's this one guy that usually passes me by exit 5, and then there's a couple people getting coffee at the Starbucks, or no, it's a Dunkin' Donuts just before or just past when you go under the Bourne Bridge. We kind of got our own little fraternity at 3 and 4 a.m. It's kind of funny.
Well, Buck Farmer going tonight for the first time of the season for the Chatham Anglers, and he comes in with a pretty hefty reputation. Big innings eater, big guy, good fastball.
So we're looking for, this is what's so much fun about coaching in the Cape Cod League is, I'm looking forward to see Buck Farmer pitch. I'm going to be a fan as much as I'm a coach because I've heard so much about him. I did catch him on TV for several innings earlier in the season, and he's very impressive. And, again, that's part of the fun. I'm looking forward, and as I'm looking forward to see Hanson pitch from St. John's, who's pitching for YD. I've heard a lot about him, so that's, it's fun.
We've talked about the recruiting process over the course of the offseason and how you go off the recommendations of coaches that you know. How often do you get to see these players before they actually come to you?
Very rarely. This year I didn't even take a trip. I've taken trips. We try to take one trip a year when we can. It's very difficult to do with my schedule at school. Just don't want to take advantage of taking days off, and they expect you to teach. Hard to believe they expect you to teach. So occasionally I will take trips. Last year I went down to see Carolina play Maine. Charlie and I took a wonderful trip a couple years ago, or several years ago, to California, and we caught. That was whirlwind. We stopped at Baylor, then jumped on another plane, and we went into L.A. and we caught USC, we caught UCLA, we caught Long Beach State. Riverside, San Diego. That was a lot of fun. So we try to do that, but it's very difficult. It's you just can't do it.
The fact that you don't get to see these players before you commit to bring them out speaks to the level of faith that you have in the coaches that are making the recommendation.
Oh, sure. And you have to. All of us have to. Unless Steve Engler gets a pretty good, bird's eye view of a lot of kids because he coaches in the ACC. So he can see some players a lot better than some of us. So, Tommy Myers gets a chance to see a lot of because there's so many schools in the LA area, he'll get a chance to see them. As does Scott Pickler here at YD. He has an opportunity to see the West Coast kids. But in general, it's not easy to do. We're all doing something else besides that. So it's a little difficult. So, again, you've got to trust people. And sometimes, their recommendations are good. Sometimes they've oversold your kid, or they just weren't sure in a kid, and you got to go with that. But you try to see these kids as much as you can. I had an opportunity to see our Louisville kids pitch because Louisville played UConn, which is right in my backyard. So I had a chance to see, Dace and Cookie. So that was fun, first of all, to meet them before the season and to see them perform.
How about the temporary players? Obviously, you get a chance to see them at the annual tryout that you can pick and choose a couple of players. But I imagine the temporary players come via the recommendation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the three guys, I guess. O'Connell came out of the tryout day, as did Warner and Powers. Leisenheimer was someone that Steve Trimper, the coach of Maine's, a dear friend, and he recommended him strongly. Other guys that we've got were the same way, but that tryout game does provide a lot. It's a good thing for everybody concerned. We certainly were able to round out the roster with them, so that was a good thing. But it's rare. It'll be different for me next year because I won't be coaching high school baseball. I'll get a chance to see more players, but it's rare to see as many players as possible.
Game 11 here at YD. We're coming up on the last game of the first quarter of the season, so tomorrow we'll talk about your report card, but give us an idea of what you're thinking.
Well, we need some work. I mean, obviously we need some work. We have not played good defense. The pitching, I think, has been very good, which, everybody in the league will say they have strong pitching. Our hitting could use some work as well. We've got to cut down our strikeouts a little bit. We need to do a little bit more situational hitting, but I don't think it's anything that's not fixable. And, you don't like to make excuses, but we've got 4 bats that are still not here yet and that, we were counting on in the original recruiting process.
He's John Schiffner. I'm Aaron Canada. It's the Manager Show on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.